Hello and welcome to episode 196 of Masters of the Forge. I'm Adam, and with me is Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Adam. Hello, everyone.
Feels good to be back, playing another game of Warhammer 40,000 with my friend Jason. Hold on.
Yep. Oh, is this where we eat things for Tucker?
No, it's my Stewart's cold brew.
Oh.
So, Jason, have you had any... Hold on. Have you had any hobby progress this past couple weeks?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
I see like 5 paragraphs.
Yeah, but it's mostly talking about planning more than actually...
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you know what they say about people who fail to plan?
Sure. So, anyway, now school and the beginning of the semester, and also having moved, I haven't gotten a whole lot of hobby progress, and I have a kitten who is insane, and so whenever I sit down at the desk to do hobby, he actually gets right in my face. And if any of y'all have been on the Discord movie nights, mostly you hear me saying something along the effects of, Zed, get off the computer screen. Zed, get off. So it's one of those where I don't get a whole lot of hobby in sometimes because of him. But so I've got these Custodes jet bikes I've been working on for a while. I've built 2 of them. I have a third one to build. They've just been, for whatever reason, slow going, and I just haven't really been as interested in building them. I don't know. It's not as much fun, I guess.
Right.
And then I found, I have an Ambot that, the Necromunda model that I'd kind of kit bashed into a Castellix. I don't remember when I did the build. I think I did it over COVID. And I did, nice base coat on it and with my airbrush. But I never done like the metals. And so I started working on the metals there, adding some brass and gold elements. And I just need to keep working on that. What's kind of funny is that Ambot is, like, I accidentally discovered that it's almost the exact same scale. It's hunched over some more, but it's about the same scale as a regular Castellix. And I just added flamers and I think a rotor cannon or something from one of the armatures to bring it up to speed. But it looks much cruder than the regular Castellix. I thought, you know what, that nice crude aesthetic that looks like it's definitely a Mark 1, or maybe before they had like markings, and I thought, yeah, this actually works with the Death Guard a lot better, because I thought maybe I would do that for my Thousand Sons, but those are a more refined aesthetic, so I need to kind of keep that in mind.
That model has a lot of applications. It's so like, what's the word? Not like it not
it can
diverse.
Be customized.
It's another. It's one of those other verses.
Yeah, whatever. It's one of those. If you're an orc player, you could loot it easily and create something really cool out of it.
Yeah.
I think with a head swap, you could just make it an orc. I guess you could have it as like maybe a war boss, I think.
Yeah, people have definitely used it as a war boss before. And a big mech would make a great big mech as well. Yeah,
it's a great model, and just really, I remember building it and thinking, this is fun. So yeah. Let's see. I am planning my next list. I'm going to go ahead and build and paint a new Thousand Sons, Horse Heresy, Thousand Sons, Zone Mortalis list. I'm
versatile.
I'm still, yeah. Well,
that's the word I was looking for. Sorry, I definitely interrupted you because Dad Brain was like, "No, I figured it out. I need to tell everybody that I know this word."
No, it is a versatile kit. And I think that one can be used for, orcs or Imperium or Chaos. Chaos really easy, yeah.
Zone Mortalis.
Zone Mortalis. I said I wanted to go ahead and build, a new Horus Heresy Zone Mortalis list that wasn't like a hodgepodge from before. Like I wasn't using things I built before. And so I'm still finalizing it, but I'm wanting to kind of go with like robots, more than actual bodies to show the desolation from Prospero, and also the Thousand Suns were never a large, all bodies group anyway.
No, they bulked out with robots.
Yeah. Right? And so I ordered some of the Castellex, I think they're called Archaeas, the Thousand Sun version from Forge World, and they came in last week. I've started building one of them. In fact, I was building this as we started up today, and this seems to be almost a cursed build for whatever reason. But this episode's been kind of a cursed episode, so what are we talking about? But there is a really cool Art of War, or Rite of War, that allows Castellex to be used as a troops unit instead of elite. I do have to take a Tech Marine, a Praetor for the Rite of War, and a Praevian to use. And that's kind of expensive, but I don't care because this will definitely tell a very sad Thousand Suns story, I guess. Let's see, what else?
As opposed to the happy Thousand Suns stories out there?
Yeah, all of those.
Joy-filled romps?
Hey, man, you got to romp where you can. Wait. Hold on, I gotta make sure we don't run into like other words there. Okay, so but yeah, I do want to go through and kind of tell, be able to show that story of not having 100 TAC Marines on the board, because that's not them. And these Archaea models are really, really cool. So let's see. I did get the Mechanicum book for Horus Heresy. There are a lot of cool units and builds in there. You've been on that email or that Facebook message with John where we're looking at maybe kit bashing some stuff or creating some lists. But I'll be at some point kit bashing my own Magos. And I've got some really cool bits from Anvil Industry. Just as an FYI, we're not endorsed by Anvil Industry, but if they want to send us all the free stuff they want, they can message us at Masters of the Forge. Mm-hmm. And we'll be more than happy to use their bits. They've got this really cool four-legged, I don't know, it's kind of like a servo body, for lack of a better term, like the lower legs. It's like four legs. And it's really nice. It's about the size of, it's larger than, it needs about a 40 millimeter or 50 millimeter base because it is kind of wide. And they also make some really nice Tech Marine backpacks, like with servo arms and whatnot. So I can probably use one of those in these lower body to create some sort of crazy looking Magos if I want. So yeah, that's pretty much my hobby progress. A lot of planning, but not a lot of doing.
Okay.
Lame.
Oh, hey, again, you got planning is an essential part of progress. Clearly.
Yeah,
I'm down with that. Okay, so
what you got? Yeah,
went ahead and I kind of agonized over the build for the steam tank because I really wanted to use some more esoteric parts for the engine for the steam boiler in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And none of my bits really came together to make something coherent. I would have had to fully build something from scratch out of plasticard or something. And I really wasn't feeling that. I didn't want to do that. So I just built it as per the instructions.
It happens.
Yeah, but I did add smoke coming out of the smokestack using bits from the Nagash model.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nagash has like whirling energy surrounding him that's full of ghosts and skeletons. Yeah, so what I did was I picked choice pieces from that, glued them kind of together and coming out of the smokestack. And that was Tucker's idea. It was a really good idea. Really like how that came out. Painted the smoke purple and added like a not a banner, like a starts with a P. Well, anyways, I added like a flag, and I used a few other ghosty bits on there to make it look more sinister, and I think it came out pretty good. It looks pretty nice, and that'll look nice on my board. I was a little daunted by painting it, but it came together super fast for some reason. And I noticed that, I just painted it in like a couple of days, but it helps that the steam tank is actually kind of, if you've painted like 8 Dark Eldar raiders, then
right,
it's kind of a similar hull shape actually, so it painted up pretty quickly. And I think it kind of looks celebratory but also sinister like the rest of my army. Like, it's kind of whimsical. I painted like the board slats on the top to different colors like stripes and whatnot, but it's also got the evil ghosty stuff in the hourglasses and whatnot on it. So pretty happy with that. That's the last thing I've painted for that army. I'm not sure I'm going to make an effort painting any more units for that army this year.
Okay.
I do still have a ton of like guard, like just regular state troops, and I have flagellants. I also have another steam tank and a bunch more artillery. Now I really don't need more artillery. Those might get saved to work alongside my Caradron instead.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the steam tank. Like, that kind of stuff could, like, Dave gave me a bunch of Cities of Sigmar stuff, but it was a lot of dwarf type stuff and artillery and guns. Right. So those might be really good to do as a separate detachment, like a separate army to go alongside the Caradron overlords. I think that makes more sense there. So I think really the only things I'm going to do with the Cities of Nagash until there's a new army book is maybe paint up those flagellants and a few more state troops at some point if I'm feeling frisky. For now I'm super focused on I know, right? Right now I'm super focused on the death terrain, the Shaiish terrain that I need to paint. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to get the actual mausoleums painted up.
Right.
And I got a set of trees from Games Workshop. The Warhammer store finally got my order in. So I built them a couple nights ago while I was sitting watching TV with Wendy. So I need to spray those up. I'm going to paint those. And I've already got the mausoleums and stuff are already gray and dry brushed. Right. And I'm currently putting I forgot the name of the paint already, but it's the
Dawnstone.
No, the green. I'm painting the roofs green. Which copper roofs. I'm painting the roofs and the doors and the gates and everything this green color. I think it's a Dark Eldar green, like it's named after a Dark Eldar or something. I'll tell you.
Like Kabbalite?
I think so. Well, now that we're discussing it, now I wanna.
Yeah, let's look it up. Yeah. Because I mean, we might as well, because that's
not Kabbalite green. Kabbalite green is too dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a lighter green. So after that, I'm going to wash it all with I'm not sure if sepia is going to work here. I don't want to introduce red so much.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I have to kind of look at it. I think if there's like more of a purple brown, it's like a darker wash. I might have to like kind of put something together. I might have to
Well, there's a purple wash, isn't there? Hold on, there used to be a purple wash.
There is, so I might have to mix my washes a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I'm gonna
maybe hit it with purple, then hit it with Nuln.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I have no idea which green this is. I'm looking at all the greens, and I could solve this problem by going upstairs and actually getting it, but that sounds like a lot of work to me. I don't know about you.
Nah. Just keep rolling. We'll do it live.
It might be Cyberite green.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the other ones. Yeah, sure that one's a lighter.
Yep. Hey, we did it. So yeah, it's kind of got a bunch of yellow in it. But instead of using the technical paint, that's what I'm going to do. I'm painting all of the roofs and stuff that color. I'm going to wash it in some kind of brown, and I mean like maybe like more of a precision wash. And then I'm going to do a black wash on it. After I do the black wash, I think I might mix some black with the Cyberite green and go over the edges like that.
Yeah. Hi, Zed.
Or maybe I'll mix in, and after that, I'll catch the edges with some brass scorpion mixed with maybe black, and do because when you look at these things, all of the brighter green color is in the recesses and on the flat surfaces, where the edges are usually still kind of that darker color somewhat. So it already looks good on the statues because I put the paint on pretty thin, like a really thick wash almost, and the exposed edges already kind of look dark like it's supposed to in an actual statue, and it looks really good. So I'm going to try to get that going on the roofs. So anyways, I need to get that done. I need to get those buildings painted and those trees painted for the next stage in the Armies on Parade, so that people can not vote for it. So
that's for this. Is that for the month of October? We are in October, right?
Yeah. I think it's got to be done this month. So I got to do that. So I'm focusing on that terrain instead of my display board.
Yeah.
There's another project in October I want to work on as well. So I'm kind of antsy to finish it. So I'm going to work on that tonight when we watch Canadian Bacon.
All right.
I wrapped up the Eisenhorn and Ravener series.
Oh, good.
Those were pretty awesome. Very excited about those. I feel like I have a much better understanding of all of this nonsense after.
Yeah, those books are really good. I think I read those maybe the first or second year I was in the hobby.
Yeah, most people did. I probably should have.
They're pretty crazy.
Yeah, I read the recent Dawn of Fire, and I was shocked when it was over. I'm like, there must be more to this book.
Yeah.
This was really short. And I looked at the runtime. It was not short. It just felt like it just got done quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out. I read Rites of Passage by Mike Brooks, and that book cannot be more different than his orc stuff. It is tonally so different.
Yeah.
It's about navigator houses and political intrigue within those navigator houses.
I think I've read that book. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like, that's the only similarity it has with Mike Brooks' orc stuff, is that it's actually good. Other than that, everything else is different. Right? It's crazy how different.
Yeah, because I think I've read the Rites of Passage. I think I read it last year, and I remember thinking that it was, completely different. It was like, it was really good. It was just
like, wow, shockingly not Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's and then I started on Gaunt's Ghosts. I'm reading that right now.
I have not read any of the Gaunt's Ghost stuff, which I realize is, heresy right there, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on, with, between the Gaunt series and the Ravener / Eisenhorn stuff. Like, that's kind of the meat and potatoes of Imperial weirdos doing Imperial weirdo stuff, and that's kind of our meat and potatoes. So it's good to read. I'm enjoying
the Commissar Kane stuff, which, is more comedic than any of that
Caiaphas Sane.
Yeah, that guy's It's like, so that's Warhammer humor. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So in games played, I did get a game with Tucker. Using my Cities of Nagash versus his Nurgle. It was a super fun game. It swung back and forth. We were murdering each other. It was great. So much murder. He took a big lead in the beginning. I slowly crawled my way back. But then we ended up tying. We actually managed to tie our game at like 70-something to 70-something.
That's unreal. That
doesn't happen
unreal. Very often.
No, it doesn't.
Especially AOS.
AOS, where there are multiple tiebreaker conditions. We might have ignored the third tiebreaker because who cares? It was basically a tie. So that was a lot of fun. I like playing AOS with Tucker. I like playing my Cities of Nagash army. But a lot of those guys are super deep into 30K right now. So
yeah, well, that's
super into 30K.
That seems to be happening. I mean, I'm building more 30K.
More 40K in, but basically, you're the only person I play 40K with now. So
okay,
essentially, that's it.
We're gonna do one more game this month for an episode, since
I think so. I think we haven't been able to play a lot, so I think that's it's good to focus on that and get another one in.
After the results of this game.
Definitely. Okay, so let's go Beyond the Fringe. Hi. What did you do? What did you have for Beyond the Fringe?
So, this is kind of a funny one. George Dickel number 8, which, if you listen to our ads, that's what Snowda's drinking instead of the J&B whiskey or scotch. I didn't know this was a real thing. I thought it was just Snowda like messing around and making up something. And then I think Mike posted a picture in Discord, and I realized we had it for sale at one of our local liquor stores. So I went and picked up a bottle just because, I didn't believe it existed. So that's my Beyond the Fringe. What about yours? So,
Jason, what I did this past weekend is I climbed on dicks. I had me and a bunch of buddies the whole day and mounted dicks. It was great. Do you want details? Do you want me to extrapolate on that report? So Dick's Mountain, DIX, Dick's Mountain. It's a high peak in the New York's High Peaks region. It has an elevation of 2,840 feet. It is, more importantly though, it's like 5 miles into the wilderness, so you have to walk 5 miles.
Yeah.
Climb at basically a 45-degree angle for 2 miles, with some of them even like more steep sections. Like there are some less steep and more steep, but about an average of 45 degrees, just like a straight 45-degree angle climb.
Yeah.
None of these mountains, okay, I don't want to say none, but the majority of these mountains, you're basically walking up them. They're not it's not mountain climbing. You can like a bunch of them have sections that are you can actually climb the steep slide on one side of the mountain, and you can try to kill yourself if you want to. But for the most part, most of these mountains, you just kind of walk up them, you hike up them with some scrambling and climbing, but not like get your ropes and pitons and crap like that. However, it was pretty steep and pretty strenuous, and we had a nice time. And so there are 46 high peaks that are designated, the top 45.
Mm-hmm.
And they call them top 46.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jason and my buddy Mark finished their 46 high peaks on this mountain. And it was a great day. Yeah, we had steak. We had pork tips that my other buddy smoked at the campsite. And the steaks, he rotisseried over the fire. He has like a little battery operated rotisserie that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, super good. It was
nice.
So good. It was really good. It was a really nice hike. Sunny. It is Sunny's 10th high peak.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you've done 10 this year.
This summer, yeah. This
summer.
Yeah, well,
okay.
That wasn't summer, but yeah, you're right. 10 this year. And we're not going to do any more high peaks, but we're going to do. I think I'm going to take Quinn out tomorrow somewhere. Try to get I'm going to try to find like a 4-mile climb somewhere that he can do, and if he whines, I can carry him.
And before it gets much colder, because
we can't even go on the
coming.
high peaks with him right now. This weekend it's like 20 degrees, so Fahrenheit. On the summits, it's not good. But closer south, like Lake George or something, we'll probably try to do a small mountain.
Oh yeah.
But we're also going to do for Hiketober, which is a charity for mental health awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We are going. I'll probably forget to put a link in the show notes later. So just look it up, Hiketober. If you want to donate, maybe I'll put a link in the Discord. At the end of the month, we're going to be doing a costume hike with kids up.
Nice.
Up a small mountain. Yep, it'll be, and I think a fire tower. It'll be a small. I think it's like a big hill with a fire tower on it, and that's fine. And that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to do that later in the month. That's my Beyond the Fringe. And as usual, recently my Beyond the Fringe is a lot of hiking stuff, but with winter coming, it'll still be hiking stuff if I'm being perfectly honest.
It's going to be winter's going to be more difficult to do hikes and whatnot. Well, for y'all,
it is. Yeah. It's tough to. At least it's tough to bring out Quinn, right? Like I can't bring him in the winter. But Sonny's fine. He's a golden retriever. He's made of fur. He's got his own fur coat. And I do have like a coat for him if it gets sub-zero. But if it's below freezing Fahrenheit, it's not so bad for a dog like Sonny. It's when you start getting into actual 0 degrees Fahrenheit that it's bad for him for more than a short, going out to pee.
And let's be honest, if it's that cold, you don't want to be out anyway.
Probably not. Probably not. No. But 30s, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're in New York. We're New Yorkers. It's
20s and 30s are fine. It's when it starts getting some
when
really nasty wind chills that
you spend 30 minutes outside, you might die. Let's not do that. Let's stay inside. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So that means I can't plan the hikes. I can plan the actual activity of hiking, but I can't say I'm doing it exactly this day because it's all based on conditions.
That's right.
So anyways, let's hop into our astropathic communique, where we each pick something to talk about that is going around the Warhammer community.
Sorry, everyone. I've got
you had to murder Zed.
Get back in there. Yeah, he's decided that he wants all of my business.
Oh.
He's sitting on the back of my chair right now, kind of watching.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
This I probably should have put in asked in Beyond the Fringe. He's not yet 5 months old. I don't think. And he already weighs the same amount as a 7-month-old cat. When I talked to the vet tech, when I talked to the vet and the vet tech about it, and I said, he's going to be a big cat, right? And they both laughed. They both thought it was funny that I asked that this cat who's way over his weight for, I mean, it's not like he's, here, buddy. It's not like he's, you know, like fat. He's just big. He's just, and he's got that big weight, and he's still lost half of his tail. So he's like going to be probably
his girlfriends.
Yeah,
he's just so big.
So yeah, I've got a small dog instead of a cat. So yeah, all right. So Astropathic Communique. Yeah, the Kill Team Shadow Vaults. Yeah, I'm not interested in the Necrons. I'm definitely kind of interested in the Acadian, you know, shock troopers, but the terrain, you know, and let's be honest, I like Zone Mortalis. I like that sort of stuff. That's what I kind of always build towards. And yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, you know. I don't know if my pocketbook is looking forward to it, but that's its problem, not mine. That's a problem for future Jason.
That's fantastic. There is a Rogue Trader novel coming out that I am going to purchase with $1. It's called Void King by Mark Collins, and it looks like a full novel. It's not like a compendium or anything like that. It's actual full novel about rogue traders and how they get along with each other and running around in lucky space doing God knows what with God.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. I want to see that.
Mark Collins.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've read anything by them, but I'm excited to. I like trying out new authors. So
yeah, I do too.
All be Graham McNeil, right?
So what?
Not all novels can be written by Graham McNeil, no matter how hard he tries.
Yeah, he didn't have the time. Yeah, or Mike Brooks.
Yes. Now the article does go on to remind us that if we checked out the Blackstone Fortress novels, we could read about Janus Drake and his exploits, which is true. I haven't. Yeah. I've heard those are good, and I think you read at least one of them, right?
I think I read both of them.
There's 3, I guess.
Oh, there's 3?
Blackstone
okay.
Fortress, Vaults of Obsidian, and Blackstone Fortress Ascension. Maybe that's like a short story or something.
I definitely read Blackstone Fortress. I think I read Vaults of Obsidian.
Blackstone Fortress Ascension is book 2.
Or maybe it was Ascension.
And Vaults of Obsidian is an anthology.
Okay.
It's got several stories in it. I guess
I'll have to look through.
Fortress. Yeah. Okay. Well, fascinating. Sounds good. Maybe there's some other stories in there. That should be fun. Anyways, maybe I'll pick up all 3 of those plus the new one and burn through those during my commutes.
Yeah.
All right. So for this episode, we played a game in our new campaign, Incursion into Lucky Space, which I got that name from the Ravener series. I guess it's a area of space where you got to be lucky to survive, basically. It's not really well patrolled by the Imperium, and there's lots of deals to be had and trading to be done with perhaps not quite perhaps some individuals and organizations that are not quite sanctioned by the Imperium, which makes for an interesting setting. I am not sure, Jason, whether we should do story time first or talk about our game second. or first, whatever. Which one to do first, the actual game talk or the story time? I think I will just leave that up to you in the editing process. But what we do know is we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So, how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Armand can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
Come here, boy, get the ball. Aw, come on, Max, get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotobix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, Zotobix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy, I'd better feed Max his Zotobix.
Yes, you had.
Zotobix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert depths.
Ah!
Zotobix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
The darkness in the close void generatorum stacks was thick, even in the intermittent illumination of a score of helmet-mounted stablights. It was like a living thing. A bass thrum and a nerve-deadening tingle washed over Sergeant-at-Arms Chev's fire team. He was aware that there was little use in attributing malicious qualities to his surroundings, quite possibly borderline heresy. The esoteric nature of the arcane arts behind void shields and gellar fields was so alien to him that his imagination was running. He knew that the gellar field protected them from the warp and the things he instinctively knew lurked there. Things they never talked about. Things that lurked in every Voidsman's dreams. Did these things now lurk among the shadows cast among the convoluted tangle of machinery and piping? As Chev understood it, they were lucky to be alive. Their vessel, the Hubris of Saint Uther, had been cycling up for warp translation when the ship had lurched unceremoniously. The ship was small enough that most engine noises couldn't be hidden from the crew, and a grinding, groaning echoed through the halls from the enginarium. The tinny voice of Tech Priest 100 had broadcast throughout the vessel, and was made more unnatural by the Vox. Emergency abort of translation. Gellar field malfunction. Stand by. Within minutes, all of Rogue Trader Vera Van Vranken's house guard had mustered for orders. Unsurprisingly, both Captain Van Ranken and Colonel Tembo agreed that it was highly unlikely that the meticulously maintained Gellar field and void shield generators had failed catastrophically and simultaneously. As such, a contingent of ship's armsmen, led by the colonel himself, had been deployed forward to the shield generatorum. Part of him hoped that, despite the possibility of sabotage, nothing strange would be there. He couldn't help but wonder if 100 had aborted the translation fast enough. He couldn't help but wonder if something had made its way onto the ship from beyond the veil. He jumped as a pulse of static charge suddenly arced through the darkness and popped into oblivion in a puff of ozone. Normally, his reaction should have been cause for admonishment from the colonel and good-natured ribbing from his subordinates, but every other stab light in every other Voidsman's helmet also jerked at that moment. Shadows tangled and distorted. "Steady," said the shadow of Colonel Tembo from the darkness ahead of them. Sergeant Chev couldn't help but muse that demanding courage must be easy for someone shielded by 1,800 pounds of Ogren and flanked by 20 armsmen wielding hotshot lasguns. At that moment, 3 distinct taps came from their left, followed by a low hiss. It could have been the sound of pipe warming and releasing gas, but Chev knew it was a signal. He raised his left arm, power fist clenched, indicating that his men should freeze. He held that position as a figure materialized from the nearby darkness. It was one of the captain's tall, lanky Xenos mercenaries. He wrinkled his nose. Now that it had revealed itself, he could smell its strange carrion stink. Beyond the colonel, the Ogren muttered and shifted uneasily. Had the Xenos been a threat, their colonel would have been dead, and it would have been their fault. "Shaper," said Tembo, "how did you get down here?" The creature replied as best it could with its huge beak and narrow tongue in Gothic. "All security in section is done. I is clear. I come." And it indicated to a portal on the other side of a bank of low heat sinks. The panel beside the door was glowing orange, indicating a malfunction. Had it been simply unsealed, it would have been green, or red if sealed. "I see," the colonel said. "Since you are here, then tune your earbud to channel Alpha 9 and take point. We don't know what, if anything, we are facing." "Mr. E to I, no stink, no see, no hear. Still feels." The Xenos trailed off. "I feel it too," the colonel said. "Use caution." "All times careful, milk eater." And then it rasped in what sounded like amusement and slunk off into the darkness. Chev finally lowered his fist and signaled for them to continue single file. "Sir," he said, in a low but clear voice, that shouldn't happen." "Yes," Tembo replied. "The doors are on a totally separate circuit. There is no way a power failure in either the void shields or the Gellar field should have had any effect on the doors whatsoever." Trooper Woltz, positioned directly behind him, asked, "Sir," Woltz was good at sensing tension in a situation, while she herself was cool under fire, both in battle and in social situations. That's one of the reasons she was trusted with one of the squad's chem rifles, a weapon which burned much like a flamer but was designed to be used in a ship's corridors without causing a lot of collateral damage. "The way into this section was opened for us from the bridge. There is no reason these other bulkheads should be malfunctioning," Chev answered. "Except," Waltz finished his sentence, "except blatant sabotage." "Except that," he replied. As a portal into the void control room slid open for them without challenge, an excruciated screech pealed out from the space ahead. An insane, iridescent light filled the corridors, and as the Xenos was laid low by some incomprehensibly alien energy. Shifting flames curled past their view at the end of the corridor, and wisps of oily smoke wafted around them, as did more pained screams. Chev's mind wrestled with the nature of the sound, and his instincts told him it was the echoes of the Xenos' soul as it was devoured by the flames. Form up! The colonel barked at his Ogren, who shuffled into a phalanx in front of him as best they could. About 2.5 of them could stand abreast with their slab shields in position. Through the Vox, he said, Flamer squads, take cover on the side corridors and try to find a way around to flank. Melta squad Arpheus, with me. Melta squad Kelm, rear guard. Sneaks, do your thing. Shev got his troopers to the port side corridor to the colonel's left, while Jund got hers on the starboard corridor. 5 armsmen formed up with the colonel with their rifles ready. There was no way they could see past the huge mash of Ogren flesh blocking the corridor, much less shoot past it. From his position, Shev got a front row seat to the demise of the Ogren, and it was not something he would forget for the rest of his life. In fact, there would be times, even late into his dotage, when the invasive memory of it would rear its head during a meal, and he would either lose his appetite or lose his lunch entirely. The attack began as a white glow eclipsed by the Ogren's slab shields, which the huge abhumans held in a perfect locked phalanx. Then, from well beyond Shev's line of sight, incandescent whips of energy cracked across the center Ogren, cleaving not only her shield, but her entire 600-pound body in half. The exposed flesh of the collapsing bodyguard had cauterized instantly, but several kilos of steaming guts splashed across and through the floor grating when she fell. Before the 2 surviving Ogren could close ranks, Shev finally caught a glimpse of the things attacking them. They were amorphous warp xenos with many limbs, each tipped with a maw slavering with phosphor spittle. Each mouth vomited a gout of multicolored flames, which reached out across to first caress the slab shields, then reared back and reached around to engulf the Ogren. Tasting flesh, the flames roared around its victims, stoked with supernatural hunger into a whirling dynamo, which first ripped away flesh as if flayed by a knife, vaporized fat, burned away muscle, and blackened bones. The Ogren normally spoke and shouted in low voices like the rolling of boulders or the rumble of thunder. As these Ogren died, they screamed like oversized children, their tears sizzling into permanent tracks of anguish on their blackened skulls. When the flames died down, Shev was certain that it wasn't because their fuel was used up or whatever power had given them life was extinguished, but because the flames had been sated by their meal. Arpheus and his Melta squad stepped up to form a fresh phalanx around the colonel, who was barking orders and pointing at a target beyond the warp flame Xenos. 2 of Arpheus's squad diverted their fire down the hall, but the other 3, Sergeant-at-Arms Arpheus included, directed their ire at the flaming monstrosities instead. Shev hadn't been ordered to break cover yet, so they stood their ground down the side corridor. However, with the Ogren dead, they had a much better view of the enemy. Shev raised one finger high and pointed towards the warp flame Xenos to indicate his troopers wielding the hot-shot lasguns should lay down whatever opportunity fire they could. Normally, a hot-shot lasgun could cut a man nearly in half or blast a superheated hole of vaporized flesh in their bodies. The combined fire of both squads, for the most part, paffed off the warp flamers, strangely yielding yet indestructible skin. When one of the warp flamers finally dissipated in a flurry of shredded material, it seemed that it wasn't their weapons fire which had killed it, but their combined hatred for it, or possibly their combined disbelief in its right to exist. The colonel's voice barked through the Vox link. Incoming! Hold your ground! Fire close range! He had hardly gotten his last word out when a flurry of mauve arcs of lightning, followed by a mad mass of pink arms and teeth, crashed into Squad Arpheus and the colonel. All 4 teams tried desperately to pour las fire into the mob of warp Xenos, but it was difficult to pick out individuals among the mass of gibbering madness, much less make out what part of each individual would render a kill shot. Arpheus's Voidsmen succumbed to the pink horror's advance, some failing to the unholy arcs of energy, and others torn asunder by claws and teeth. Trooper Pace simply chose to put a las round in his brain rather than face one more moment in a universe where such things existed. With the colonel trapped in the mass of ravening warp Xenos, the other 2 squads of armsmen became fully involved in the scrum in order to extricate their commander. The urge to join them was strong, but Shev held his troopers back. He led them into the open space beyond and gestured with open fist towards the 2 remaining warp flamers. Their flaming and flickering bodies were engorging, he assumed, in preparation for another breath of flames. He was not about to give them a chance at that. Fire! The 2 troopers in his squad, wielding chem rifles, slid to either side of him and loosed a stream of flesh-eating science into the enemy. The cloying spray bit into the semi-real monstrosities, but did not fell them. His other 2 troopers fired over the heads of the first 2 and blazed shots into the pair. Coherent light refracted around the glistening, engorged skin. Bayonets! He screamed and ran forward into the foe. His trooper followed, bellowing cries of their own. Streams of gibbering flame gouted from their foes before they could make contact. The streams of iridescent fire splashed over Shev, Volts, and Prembilla, snaking around their souls like oil over a hot pan. He scoffed at their attempt to damn such noble souls. His gloating was short-lived. Behind him, Navil and Gray erupted into peals of agony as the flames devoured them. Shev slammed his articulated power fist into one of the warp flamers. Its body rippled but held. Volts and Prembilla were slicing into the foe with bayonets attached to their chem rifles, flesh-eating liquids spraying from the nozzles as they did so. The warp flamers reeled but recovered quickly, their mouthed pseudopods snapping back at the troopers, orifices drooling sanity-breaking flames roiling with colors that had no name. Shev's vox bead screeched, "Colonel down! Colonel's down!" Panic set in, which he arrested a second later and allowed rage to take its place. Die! He roared and punched the warp thing again. This time it disapparated in a puff of noxious smoke. Volts and Prembilla were also making short work of the other warp flamer, tearing into it as much with their rage as their bayonets. When that work was done, he said, "Back into the..." And then he saw something that gave him pause. Across the room, hovering on a strange circular grav sled, was a warrior wearing a massive ornate suit of power armor. He'd served long enough to know what a traitor angel looked like. It was moving quickly towards a portal to the aft and the rest of the ship, but it turned its head, glowing eye lenses glowing in the gloom, locking his gaze. His choice was easy to understand, but torture to consider. Should he order his men to engage the traitor angel, delaying it for a few moments in the hopes of others coming to their aid in that time, or allow it to escape and assist their colonel in their companions? Shev decided that selling the lives of himself and his troopers would not buy them anything. If he were to damn them, it might as well be for something they could achieve. He took a step back, not taking his eyes off the traitor angel. "Save the colonel!" he ordered, and his 2 surviving troopers engaged with the dwindling mass of gibbering pink flesh. The other armsmen were still hacking and blasting at the horrors. Some of the warp xenos had been destroyed, but others cheated death by tearing themselves in twain across their wrecked unflesh to become 2 smaller beings. The traitor angel wasted no time. Clearly satisfied that it would not be accosted, it departed through the portal. Shev keyed his fox speed. "Bridge, we are tied up. A traitor angel is loose in the ship, heading aft towards the landing bay." Then he hefted up his power fist and waded back into the scrum. All right, well, that was a fun game that we played. I think that there are quite a few Zone Mortalis resources for Tabletop Simulator that make it a lot of fun to play that way on TTS, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's any Zone Mortalis corridor type that you can think of is there in 1 foot by 1 foot pieces.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it has,
and you can lock them into position however you like. Copy them. You can literally have thousands of dollars in Zone Mortalis terrain for $0, which is really nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because and the thing is that if you go with the original tiles aren't as, not negotiable or maneuverable, but you can't change them around at all. Whereas with TTS, you can create Zone Mortalis tiles that don't exist.
Exactly. Yeah, and each of the there's little pieces and stuff too that let you close off corridors, and there's doors and whatnot. So it's pretty sweet. I really like it. So there's that, and I kind of have reset up a base save for our campaign, so we can open up the same file over and over again and have all our models there to use.
Yeah.
Next time we play, I'll set it up again, and if you wanted to add anything or change anything, we'll do that, and then go ahead and save it after the fact. That way, it's always there instead of opening the same one.
We'll have to go find those dice that I yeeted across the universe there. Oopsies.
So we already read Story Time. I hope that everyone liked that. There are a few, half of it was proofread, the other half was not, and I could tell repetition of some words was there, but I hope that it was fine. Anyways.
Well, I not to get, we've already kind of spoiled things, but when you mentioned that Kroot Shaper, I just almost started laughing out loud. And we'll talk about that more in the game, because that was a tragedy.
So the mission that I set up, so I've put together a kind of a map of the ship, kind of a cross-section map of the ship with multiple sections that you can take over. The way I set it up was, I assume that a good spot for you to take over first would be the Gellar Field and Void Shield generator area.
Oh yeah.
Because if you do that, the ship can't translate into the warp. It can't escape. And your sorcerer does have a smaller vessel, like a small escort vessel, but they're in no way, even crippled, the rogue trader's vessel would be more than a match for your escort. So you're kind of keeping distance while also creating these incursions on the ship, because there's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens in Lucky Space, and you set up a trap for the rogue trader. Just, you want a bigger ship, a better ship to use for your escapades.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what I was going for with this campaign. So anyways, this ship, the Hubris of Saint Uther, apparently Saint Uther had won a whole bunch of campaigns, and he had no business winning them. He's considered a super lucky saint.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's kind of the patron saint of this rogue trader, but also she recognizes how someone who's that lucky can tend to have a overblown opinion of their abilities. So that's why she named her ship the Hubris of Saint Uther. So as you take these sections of this ship, you could get different abilities, or you can actually cause me to have penalties as the campaign moves on. Now, I haven't fully decided that all of these are going to be permanent changes or permanent. I may decide to change what they do. Because I want to make sure. I just kind of came up with them on the fly, so they're kind of not really set in stone. But you should feel confident that for the most part, each thing will at least do something similar to what I've established so far. So right now you're in main void control. The main benefit of that is I can't run away. So if I ever gain back void control, I would consider that a failure, but I wouldn't go ahead and like a campaign failure, but I'm not going to go ahead and like make a run for it right away. Right. I want this campaign to go, the rest of the year. Then we have forward weapons control, which is basically this big battery turret on the front of the ship. And the thing about that is, if you gain control of it, I am going to take a morale penalty, because for the simple reason being, if you control it, you can actually just turn that turret around and shoot the bridge if you really needed to.
Yeah.
So that's something that'll always be on our mind. So I was going to say that's a penalty to leadership if you take that.
Yeah.
Then there's 2 cargo bays, and I kind of want some cool stuff to be in those cargo bays, some stuff worth taking, but they are a slower route to get to the con. Okay.
Yeah.
Towards that forward section are some sensors. Having control of the sensors gives you a +1 on all priority rolls. And don't forget, in our version of Zone Mortalis, we do have every turn we have priority roll.
Right.
Now, I currently have control of the sensor array, and it really didn't matter.
No, not a single time. Did you ever?
Jason's like, I may not go for the sensors.
Yeah, it seems like bad luck. That seems like real bad luck, because that was,
On the underside of the cargo sections, we have a landing bay, which is a quicker route to the Enginarium and the con. I didn't put it here, but in between this like middle section and the Enginarium is kind of a transportation hub. So I'll map out the actual paths a little bit better in a new image later. But in the back we have the Enginarium, which controls the power, which there's no. I'm not going to say that there's a in-game benefit to that, but if you take it, I recommend you use your imagination to come up with ways of using it to your advantage. Port and starboard weapons control. Again, these are all things that will affect your scout ship's ability to come a little bit closer and start to unload more troops.
Yeah.
And by troops, I mean horrible demon things. So if you can manage to totally cripple all of the weapons on this ship, then I will say, hey, if you want to, you can bring the scout closer and start really attacking in force, and maybe attacking more than one section at a time. Or catch me in a trap somehow. So have a mission that's favorable to the attacker, kind of.
Right.
Where I might be stuck in the middle and you can deploy on either side or whatever. So that's something to think about. Gaining control of the ship, I'll tell you right now, if you gain control of all the weapons or the engines or whatever, I'll say that you can kind of start dictating the missions as you please, or we can have a discussion about how we would set up the missions to have a benefit.
Yep.
Barracks. Then there's the con. If you take control of the con, which is the bridge, that's it. That's the end of the campaign right there, essentially. Right. Possibly with an escape scenario at the end, but we'll see. So, having said that, that's the ship. Let's talk about. I haven't given anything about my Crusade Force lately or yet, because I hadn't been able to. I really didn't have time to put it together, but I obviously have it together now. So I will. First of all, we are using Administratum. I pay $5 a month to Goonhammer, which opens up the ability to create campaigns. Now, if you pay another $5, you can do team campaigns, which I don't need that because it's just the two of us. At least I don't need it right now.
In the future, that might be happening.
40K right now. Yeah. But it's cool. You get a whole list of players and their rosters, and you can manage games. You can enter in the games you played, and it shows all the scores and stuff, and it updates your data sheets with abilities. It's pretty great.
Yeah, there's some nice stuff on here. I'm looking forward to messing with it more as we go along.
Well, it helps us remember all this stuff. There's a lot to remember.
I need help. Yeah, let's just be honest. That's me. I know this.
So we did 100 power level forces just so we have a good mix of options. Again, this is going to be kind of an abbreviated campaign compared to what you might do in the store or on your own. We're not going to have 20 games, of this campaign. It's just not going to happen. So, first off, we have Rogue Trader Vera Van Vranken. I used the version so there's 3 different Rogue Traders that their war gear is based on what specifically the model has on it.
Yeah.
So the one that I picked is the one with the Court Blade, Heirloom Pistol, and Monomolecular Rapier. I think that's the Elucia Vane one with the
one with the hat,
face mask.
The one with the hat, right?
Yeah, she's got a sweet hat.
Yeah. Okay, that one. Yeah.
I gave her the Captain on the Deck Warlord trait. Voidsmen at Arms use this Warlord's leadership instead of their own.
Okay.
Along with her, I'll just go through the HQs. Along with her is Navigator Natavale Nat von Tressenberg. I think there might be a Navigator, but then it adds more weird keywords, and I just didn't bother. Instead, I just used a Primaris Psyker for this and gave her the Gaze of the Emperor psychic power. Now, I won't be using her in a lot of games, but if you get close to the barracks and the con, I'll have no choice but to include her in the games. Then I have what did I call? Oh yeah, I called him 100 or something like that. Yeah. Tech Priest Engine Seer. Again, once you start getting into the Enginarium and whatnot, I'll include them in the games. Kligtak the Kroot Shaper. I'm going to delete that character right now because for reasons.
Sorry.
I have Colonel Clay Tembo for all of the Voidsmen, the Voidsmen Arms. I guess they also call them armsmen on these ships. Colonel Clay Tembo, he's a Tempestor Prime. I'm using Tempestor Scions for all of these characters because I think the flak armor makes sense, and it'll make a lot more sense with some of the models I'm using. Yeah. So I took some of the Genestealer cult models, and I'm going to be using all the Void armor guys for these squads. I gave him Warlord trait Old Grudges. Select a unit in the opponent's army with all mass Austromilitarum units within 6 inches of this character. Reroll failed wounds against that unit. So at some point, he was real pissed off at either your guys or guys that were like your guys, and he gets a reroll wounds.
He didn't like demons. That's fine.
No, he certainly didn't. He wasn't a fan. Okay, so those are the main Imperium characters. I also have so with Kligtak is a unit of Kroot. What do you call them? I forget what they're called.
Kroot Hounds?
Kroot people?
Yeah, just Kroots.
I think they're just called Kroot now. I think they used to be called carnivores. They used to be called carnivores. Oh, yeah. Well, I think they're still called carnivores, even though they really don't. Anyways.
They're all carnivores.
Well, yeah. You don't hear about vegan. Oh, yeah, carnivores. Yeah.
You don't hear about vegan Kroot,
No. Also, there's another Xenos faction, Spanner Boss Grindgears. Mm-hmm. He's a big mech in mega armor. He is a Blood Axe mercenary.
Oh,
he's a Blood
I
Axe
did not know we
mercenary.
were doing that. Okay.
Oh yeah, and he's got a squad of 10 boys, 10 commandos, a squad of 10 commandos, and a squad of 10 Gretchen, who kind of have their own little section on the ship. All Blood Axes.
It's probably a mess. It's probably a disaster zone.
It is a disaster. It's awful. So for the Scions, aka Voidsmen, we have 2 Flamer squads, 2 Melta squads, and 2 Plasma squads.
Yeah. Oh, those Flamer squads. I remember them.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, they did.
And like in the story, I decided instead of them being actual flamers, they're these like chem flamers, kind of like some of the Imperial Guard tanks have.
Oh, yeah.
To avoid setting the ship on fire, which is usually a bad thing.
Yeah, that's probably a bad idea. So let's not do that. Yeah. It could be fun, but still probably a bad idea.
There's a command squad, a Tempestus command squad.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Welcome Wagon, which is a unit of Bulgrins.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's a good name for them.
In the story, I kill all these guys off, but I'm just going to use the sheet. It'll just be a different unit of guys. It's fine.
Well, I mean, they all passed their out of action, so
they did, but they certainly didn't pass their out of action in the story. Then
that Croup Shaper didn't.
No, he certainly did not. Dude, you should. Anyways, then we have 2 Voidsmen squads. Voidsmen at Arms. They're the actual units that go with the rogue. They're actual rogue trader units.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have 2 Rattling squads, Warwick Scouts, and the Jefferies Sneakers. 2 5 model units of Rattlings. And so then I have a whole contingent of squads. Led by Veha Fainrot, a Brokir Iron Master.
Cool.
I have a unit of Hearthkin Warriors. I thought I had 2. Yep, 2 units of Hearthkin Warriors. Both of them kitted out differently, just to have something different. I just didn't add a missile launcher because I feel like having a missile launcher in the bowels of a ship is a terrible idea.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that could be a real bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a great call. So we tap the brakes on that one. But I do have a unit of Pioneers in there, which normally, I mean, I guess they'll only be helpful in some battles, I think,
right? Because
they're on these hover bikes. But I'm all about riding hover bikes down giant starship corridors and whatnot. And plus, they would actually be around because Pioneers have they would be hanging out with rogue traders if anybody is, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that is, I believe I've gotten everything. I believe that is the Lucky Space Gamblers. Also, again, we are doing the house rule where we put our available stratagems on our Crusade roster.
Yes.
So we are allowed the generic stratagems from the core rulebook. So command point, reroll, insane bravery, whatever. All of those are fine. But any ones that are specific to our codex or specific to the campaign setting have to be purchased.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with 3. You get 3 to start on your roster, but all the other ones have to be purchased with requisition points,
right?
In order to have access to them. So the ones I picked are Wall of Flesh, which is a 1 CP stratagem, and when a unit is targeted, if they're within 3 inches and behind a unit of Bulgrins, they get a -1 to hit them. The second one is one where all the Tempestus units within 12 inches of the prime become fearless. That's a nice one. It's only 1 CP. Yeah, it's a good one. But don't forget, in our Zone Mortalis, all ranges are measured around corners. So if my Tempestus Prime is in a room and there's a bunch of guys outside the room with the door closed, they don't get the bonus.
Yeah.
Now I picked Fire on My Position, which is 3 CP. A unit with a Voxcaster, when it dies, all units within 3 inches of the last model in the unit roll a 4+ to deal D3 mortal wounds to them. In my head, I don't see this as like, shooting artillery, but instead the ship is booby trapped.
Yeah.
And the Scions can call, or like the Voidsmen can call in and say, hey, set off booby trap J17 or whatever, and it will go off. Or it could represent that last person overloading a plasma conduit in that corridor or something.
Yeah.
I purchased one at the end of this mission, which I guess I could have. Well, I'll talk about now. I picked Echoes in the Halls, which is a 2 command point stratagem in our Zone Mortalis supplement. Essentially, it allows you to overwatch a unit that you can't see. So if something is around the corner and charges you, you can still overwatch it with all of your weapons, which is nice. I think it's kind of similar to the reaction fire from the new 30k Zone Mortalis rules. It's basically
which
the same thing.
I think are beautiful, but we're not going to go into what I think of the Horus Heresy rule set, because this is not a Horus Heresy podcast. So
yeah, and we talked about that already.
We already talked about it.
we done talked about how we like that. So okay, so that is my that's my roster. Hey Jason, do you want to just remind everybody of the things that are in your roster, and maybe if you did pick stratagems, go ahead and let them know what ones you picked.
Yeah, we'll do. So I have 3 HQs on here. I mean, I have my main warlord, which is my Thousand Sun sorcerer, who's already shown up. And then I have a Demon Prince of Chaos that I think I'm using the new book. I don't know. There's a Demon Prince of Tzeentch, and there's a Demon Prince of Chaos. I'm not sure which book to use, so I'm using the new Demon book for it.
I would use the new Demon book. It's so much easier just to have one source.
And then the Flux Master, which Flux Master is kind of a blue horror or pink horror that's been, been something more. And if you remember one of our previous campaigns, I had a pink horror that survived a rather large group of them and ran off. And so Adam decided that was going to be a new HQ for me, and I had to paint up. So he's back. I then have 4 squads of pink horrors, just for the bodies. 1 squad of rubrics, because it would probably be nice to have more than just 1,000 Sun unit. A bunch of flamers. I've got 4 squads of those. One of them's a 6 flamer squad. The other 3 are 3 flamers. 3 screamer units. And because we are on this spaceship that has docking bays and whatnot, I decided to go ahead and bring in, our cargo bays, which I guess could also be docking bays. I decided to bring in a Heldrake also, just because it could fly in to maybe, one of these landing zones or whatever. It flies in on turn 2, and causes some sort of chaos. I don't know. We'll see. I may not use it, but you know what? He's there. Spot the Heldrake has shown up. Because I name all of those things is dumb. All right. Let's see. My stratagems, I picked up. These are all 1 CP. I had to pull out my book for this to make sure I get it all right. Warped Regeneration, which is a 1,000 Sun epic deed stratagem. And you use the stratagem in your psychic phase after you manifest a power with the unit with an unmodified psychic test of 9 or more. If that unit contains a model that lost any wounds, that model is healed and regains up to D3 wounds.
Yeah, that's a good stratagem.
Yeah, because I look at, and we've had this discussion before about how I'm only really caring about my Exalted Sorcerer in any of my 1,000 Suns lists because, let's be honest, it's 1,000 Suns. They don't care about the other, about the demons or the rubrics, to be honest. And so it's a chance maybe for him to regenerate or something like that. I also picked up Great Sorcerer, which is on the next page, I believe. I thought it was on the next... Oh, no, there it is. 1 CP. Select 1,000 Sun Psyker from your army, and this unit can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power this turn.
That's a great one for
that's pretty nice. Then Malefic Scroll, which I laughed whenever I saw it because it was funny, and now I can't find it. There it is. Use the stratagem in your psychic phase when 1,000 Suns Psyker from your army manifests the smite power. The manifestation inflicts inflicts 3 mortal wounds instead of D3 or D6. No dice roll is made. So that way I can definitely get a specific number instead of having to rely on the dice, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it's nice to have that we're like, okay, I really need this to happen.
So I have those 3 stratagems, and then I have a Warlord trait, which I'm taking Cult of Duplicity, which has an automatic Warlord trait, and I think it's Master and Misinformator, which allows me to redeploy. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah. I was trying to go through and have, things that work with this sorcerer, and there's some requisition upgrades I'm looking at that I think would work better. I think would work better just because of who the sorcerer is. So, yeah.
Right. So how I forget which sub-faction are you using again of 1,000 Suns? Which cult?
Well, Cult of Duplicity.
Right.
Yeah. I know they nerfed it, but I don't care. I like it. The idea of running all these demons that I can just kind of reposition is kind of funny, especially because it's chaos, it's demons. You don't know what's going on, So I think that works really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is those are our Crusade forces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the lists we took.
Okay.
Jason, you're the attacker. Why don't you just tell us quickly who you took in this scenario?
So I took my Exalted Sorcerer on disc. One thing I did forget to mention, I did pay a requisition point to get the Incandium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which it's not the best one that I could have taken, but it's cool. And I kind of like the idea of having a staff that just shoots flames. And I can also beat people with. I think that's kind of fun. So he's got a sorcerer's. His psychic powers are Sorcerer's Facade, which he gets as being part of Cult of Duplicity. Of course, Smite, because of everyone gets Smite. And then he has Temporal Manipulation, which allows him to basically heal himself, and Firestorm of Tzeentch, which basically is Fireball. Notice I'm just basically looking at, what were the old D&D, big powers? Fine, we'll do this. Which I still see Smite as being Magic Missile.
You should just, on your sheet, you should call the spell To Whom It May Concern.
Right. And the Warlord trait is the Master Misinformator. So that's my HQ, and I have 2 units of horrors with icons and instruments. I didn't catch this in our previous discussion of the demon book, but that unit's now maxed at 10 horrors.
Yeah, it's true for all the troops.
Yeah, which
all the troops are maxed at 10 now.
Yeah, that's kind of a trip because that means I've got a lot of demons, man. I think I just doubled the amount of the troop units I have. So 2 of those units, and then 1 unit of flamers, which those flamers are worth it.
Yeah, they're pretty great, dude. They're pretty great.
Yeah.
So my list, my force that I took to investigate the problems going on down at the shield room were Colonel Clay Tembo himself, the Tempestor Prime. He was accompanied by 4 units of Scions, armsmen, the 2 Flamer squads and the 2 Melta squads. Guarding him was the Welcome Wagon, the unit of Bulgarins. They've got their slab shields and the maces.
Yeah.
Because that's cool. Then I also had Kligtak, the Kroot Shaper, who was scouting ahead. And Warwick's Scouts, which are a unit of Ratlings. And that was exactly 25 power level.
Yeah, mine hit exactly on 25 also.
Excellent. It was nice to do a quick one for this first one, and it kind of makes sense that it would be a really slapdash quick engagement.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about our agendas. Jason, what did you pick for your agenda?
Wrath of Sorcerers, which I realize I'm running basically, it's 1,000 Suns / demon list, but I mean, I'm seeing it all as being under 1,000 Suns because that's what I care about. Wrath of Sorcerers is actually a tally for every smite, witchfire. There's something else that a sorcerer casts. You give them a tick on the Wrath of Sorcerers tally, and
but it goes down to 0 if they perils, right?
I believe. I don't think they. That's another thing that
that's
that drops on 0.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, in this game, I only took him. He's the only 1,000 Suns. He's the only psyker I took, so he automatically won that agenda. So
he'll get it as long as he casts 1.
Yeah, which he cast a whole bunch of stuff. We do talk about that. Yeah. And what agenda did you take?
I picked Call the Hordes. Whenever a unit kills 6 or more models in a phase, you score a tick on Call the Hordes, which I think is now. I'm never going to take that ever again, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, didn't you get it every time you assaulted them?
I can't. I can't get it because it's by units, especially against the pink. Well, I mean, I guess, you know what? I should have paid better attention, but honestly, I'm running these small 5 model units of guys.
Yeah.
So I can't quite get that many kills off without shooting, because all my offensive power really is in shooting. And your models, all the Tzeentch models, have a 3-up invulnerable save, 3-up demon save in shooting. So it's real tough to actually get that against you. So I might have to adjust my strategy as far as agenda choice goes.
Yeah.
So again, what we did, I set up a Zone Mortalis of a bunch of corridors. I set up on one side, you set up on the other side. We use the blind deployment with blip tokens.
Which is always fun. I love doing that. I love that so much.
There was a doorway to the shield room on your side, a doorway to the cargo bay, cargo B on my side. On the left was the doorway that would take you to the weapons, the forward weapons array.
Yeah.
And on my right, your left, was a door to the what was it? The landing bay.
Yeah.
And all of the doors were considered unlocked for both of us because you had used your Tzeentch magics to cause a malfunction in this area. That won't be the case going forward, but for this mission, I felt it was a good idea and it made sense narratively.
Yeah.
So the way the rules for doors work in this, at least for now, because apparently Games Workshop finally decided to do Zone Mortalis. I wonder how many things they're going to steal from. Steal. It's not steal. It's. I mean, some things are obvious, right? Anyways, we'll get into that at a much later date. When you move, you can just move through a door as part of your move action, but you can only do one door at a time. So you can't walk through two doors in a turn.
Or one unit
walk through one. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. What else? So that meant that you had to, not only did you have to walk through multiple doors to get to the exit, but you can't I think you asked, can I teleport through the door? And I was like, no, you got to walk through the door because that would be way too easy.
Yeah.
So that is that. So for deployment, how did you decide to, I should tell about my deployment because I was the defender. I deployed first. So I deployed the Ogren in the center, right behind the door, with the commander kind of to the side, and the Tempestus squads flanking. The Kroot Shaper, Kligtak, I put him in the room off to the side because he can do a pregame move as well. The Rattlings also deployed slightly forward, but all the way on the left, covering the exit to the weapons array.
Yeah. And then I what was it? I deployed one group of horrors that was taking my right flank. So they were actually
they're also
the same
going
flank
for the weapons
the
array.
Yeah. The second group of horrors is right down the center with the sorcerer behind them. And then I put the flamers on my left flank, basically in front of the Kroot Shaper. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's a reason we keep laughing about it.
So on turn one, Kligtak did his pregame move, zipped up. He's like, what could possibly be behind that door that's dangerous? Then the Ogren blasted through the door, and the Flamer squads tried to get into position kind of on the side with the Melta squads right behind. The Rattlings hid in their room, and they're just waiting for that door on the other side of the corridor to open.
Yeah.
That was it. I basically just got into position.
Yeah, and that's that's the only thing that really could have been done.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, the Flamers jump down or shut up the aft corridor and open up the door to reveal the former Kroot Shaper. Yeah, the pink horrors with the sorcerer behind them open the center door, and at the end of the open space where's the welcome wagon, the Bulgrim with the Melta squad and the colonel behind them. And so I pushed forward with them. Token forward, they just moved, which that was the other group of horrors. They didn't have enough movement. They couldn't quite get next to
the door to open it because you can't run and open a door, and you can't fall back and open a door.
So was it? My sorcerer, because psychic shows up, mind blast or space magic them and dealt 2 mortal wounds, and then I used Tzeentch's Firestorm to take out that last Bulgrim.
Yeah, the one Bulgrim was killed by Tzeentch by the sorcerer.
The Flamers, open the door and there's that Kroot Shaper with all of their shooting and incinerate him, but down to his base components, which is really funny.
They did so much damage to that one guy.
It's one of those things where that poor Shaper, I mean, you could take a base and just paint it in flames and melted whatever, and that can be your future Kroot Shaper. Oh, it was bad. Okay. The pink horrors did shoot, and they fired splashes off the slab shields of the Bulgrims, And they did initiate a charge, but I think they rolled snake. Yeah, they did roll snake eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided that no, we're gonna live and let live, which is probably better. I discovered in this game that horrors and assault are not. If you want to make sure no one goes anywhere, assault them with horrors because they're not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like that. And by like it, I mean GFY. Okay, turn 2. Jason wins priority.
Yeah, this is going to be... You. Yeah. Adam had a +1 on priority, but it...
I did. And I was winning ties. If you're the person who goes first gets to win ties. So...
Yeah. So the pink horrors on the far side of the map open the door and reveal themselves. They reveal the rattlings, and they finish their move forward and kill 2 with their coruscating flames.
Poor rattlings.
Yeah, I love those models. Like they're just really kind of cool.
Space hobbits.
Yeah, space hobbits. The pink horrors and the flamers then surround the Bulgrins, and which revealed one of the flamer squads down the hall, which was good and bad real quick.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I used the, what was it? Malefic Scroll, because I knew that Bulgrins had 3 mortal wounds. Just like, yeah, I just need to smite this guy and burn that CP to take him out. So that took out that Bulgrin. And the flamers, because of course they're flamers, incinerate the remaining Bulgrin with their 27 shots or however many they had. It was obnoxious. Wasn't 27, it was like 18 or 19, I think. Then pink horrors killed 4 in the Melta squad. And then I forgot about this. Then Candium, the magic staff for my sorcerer, brazed the sergeant. That's actually the best that thing is done. So I was pretty happy with that. Well, it's maybe not the best is done, but it did what it needed to do, and that was good.
Flamer sword rules.
Yeah. Then flamers charge the scions with flamers, and they overwatch and deal 1 damage. And because the flamers are just like, nah, we're good. They failed that charge. That's nice. Let me see. The pink horrors in the middle charge the Tempester Prime, Colonel Timbo, and deal 2 wounds to him. And Timbo basically can't hit with his power fist.
He whiffed a lot that game.
Yeah.
He didn't really do much. The hobbits did manage to pass morale. Good for them.
I was impressed. I didn't think they would. I was
shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked, I tell you.
But I like that they passed because of what happens later. Yeah.
Yeah. So on my turn, the Tempester Prime made it all, but the scrum there, those 10 pink horrors in contact with the Tempester, I can't shoot.
Yeah.
My entire, all these guys do is shoot. They're not really great in combat. So I brought up the two other Tempester squads.
Yeah.
And I just did some kind of a little bit of fire into the flamers and the sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really much line of sight to be had because it was so clogged in there.
Right.
Really what I had to do was charge. I had to charge everything into the pink horrors, and I did manage to get 1 squad of flamers to charge into, or sorry, the 1 flamer squad of Tempesta Scions into the flamers.
Mm-hmm.
Rattlings did take some pot shots at the horrors coming down the 4 corridor. But I like those guys. They can move, shoot, and move. They do have heavy weapons, so they move, shoot at a -1, and then they move again. So they kind of hid back down the corridor a little bit.
Yeah.
Sergeant Tembo did manage to kill a pink horror with his pistol, and it didn't split. But I managed to kill 3 pink horrors in combat, all split. I killed all 4 of the blues that appeared, 1 split, and then I killed the brimstone that came around after the one blue split. You made the right call here on using your once per game auto pass morale stratagem, because those guys would have probably all
they'd have been
disappeared in a puff of smoke. Yeah. The pinks do manage to drag the colonel down, and the flamers did beat up one of my scions. Now, the colonel really only fell to, bludgeoning from pink horrors. So I didn't really make his end there. I think he's just incapacitated.
Yeah, he is. He's fine.
15 to 20 other scions in combat there. I think the pinks have more on their mind than coup de grace-ing the colonel.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, I mean, I think he survived. That's yeah. That Croup Shaper, no, he didn't survive. But the colonel, he survived. Yeah.
No. Turn 3, Tzeentch win another Tzeentch priority win.
Yeah, I never dice against Tzeentch, man. Never dice against Tzeentch.
It's true. It's entirely my fault. All right, what happened? What happened on your turn 3?
So we get to turn 3, and I realize I've got 2 doors that I can get to fairly easily. And I was like, well, can I roll towards both doors? Can I go through and split my forces to try and take 2 rooms?
And why not? Of course. In a GM campaign, assume the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
But it's usually yes and or yes but. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something you can try to do, and I would assume you can try anything, but also assume that maybe there's something. There's always a cost and a benefit to it.
So I decided that I would send the pink horrors over by the rattlings, because I really was like, do I go bloodthirsty and try and take out all of these guys, or do I play more chaotic and more towards the mission? Maybe not even towards the mission, but the overall vibe of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, let's send those pink horrors towards the forwards weapon control. Let's go have them escape that way so they can go cause chaos over there. It was like, that's the forward weapons control. We have to worry about. That's the morale area, etc. But it would also be hilarious.
It's hilarious to turn a ship's own weapons against it.
Yeah, with Tzeentch, horrors. I mean, not even like the bright. It's like the dumbest of the Tzeentch models. If it had been like the Changeling, that would be bad. But the horrors are just going to screw everything up because it's basically Slimer. So I sent them that way, and then I thought, I'll take my sorcerer towards the landing bay, and so he can go ahead and grab that.
Start heading towards the bridge.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we have to go into combat. I did try and teleport the sorcerer and failed, so that was kind of annoying. But whatever. Wait, didn't I rolled that? I failed it, and then I re-rolled it, and then I failed it again. It's like, okay, fine.
Yep.
Fine. So the Flamer Scions did kill one of my Flamers in combat. Flamers in combat are not good. Tzeentch in combat, not good.
No. Amazing against shooting attacks, but not so good in combat.
Yeah, the demonic invulnerability is +3 for shooting and +6 in close. So I'm going to try not to get those guys into close combat. The pink horrors killed 2 in the other Flamer squad. The Flamers, of course, did nothing because, man, they're just not there. You killed 4 models in my horrors unit, and I did fail morale, and I lost 2 total. I don't remember if I lost pinks or if I...
Yeah, 2 escaped into the warp.
Okay. It was one of those things that we were just,
Yeah, at that point, I think you had 4 or 5 pinks. I think you just had 4 pinks left at that point.
Yeah, that group was getting whittled down. I really do like that mechanic that GW, came up with for splitting.
Totally unique and non-copyright, non-Masters of the Forge copyright infringing.
Whoever wrote that, came up with that idea, man, chef's kiss.
Genius.
Just
a genius. Yeah.
Just
clearly.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I like that.
What about
so
you, man?
on my turn, I sent the ratlings to chase after the horrors, which are going after the forward weapons array.
I really do love that ratlings are chasing horrors. That just
it's just going to be a slap fight. So right now there's 2 fights going on. One squad is fighting the flamers, and the 2 other remaining squads are fighting the horrors. I'm a little shocked that flamers don't have AP in combat. I feel like those pseudopods that are spitting like reality fire probably should have some kind of AP. But that's that's just me. So the Melta squad got distracted and took out only 1 pink, which is then replaced with 2 blues. So you ended the turn with more models than you started with. The Flamer squad does take out the my Flamer Scion squad takes out the Flamers.
Yeah,
that's my first kill of the game. Very exciting.
Yep, good kill
for me. Turn 4, Tzeentch wins priority.
Of course, this became kind of a running joke at this point. So the Exalted Sorcerer has escaped to the landing bay. You killed 3 horrors. No Scions were killed, which, I mean, the horrors were just being whittled down just really quick.
Yep, and then the ratlings did finally chase. They actually exited the area down the Jeffrey's tubes. The Scions fell back, allowing the Flamer squad to shoot the remaining pink horrors with their chem rifles, and that was we didn't have a chance to see if you would win priority for the 4th time in a row because the game was essentially over at that point.
You want to roll that now?
I don't think I have a die here. So great. When it comes to, so this is great. When you're done with your game and you do a battle report in Administratum, it lets you put in all of the results of each unit, like each destroyed unit and whether it got a battle scar or what, which is really, really cool. I really like that a lot. So if I look at my roster right now, or if I look at the battle report right now, you marked my Flamer Squad Alpha as marked for greatness, and that's the point of view character. I think you know what would be really cool if I make the point of view character in every game the one who got marked for greatness that game.
Oh, yeah, that could work.
Because they're the ones who are going to be the ones doing all this. Like, they would have been the ones who did all the stuff, right? The ones who you'd want to have a point of view of anyways. Yeah. So I think I might do that. I think I might, I won't like vow it, but I think that's a good way to do it.
Well, you marked my pink horrors that pretty much clogged up everything as marked for greatness.
They won you the game.
Yeah. They're also destroyed.
Well, yeah.
So we're not doing that point of view for the Thousand Suns. But yeah, that's I really do like how Administratum does this because it is better than me.
Like, Understood.
Yeah, I'm going to mess it up. The nice thing I can see, though, is my sorcerer is going to, at the end of the next game, my sorcerer will level up real quick. So,
I do have, I think it was Melta Squad Beta, which makes sense because that's the squad that was initially brought down by the Flamer and stuff. Melta Squad Beta does have a battle scar. They are fatigued. They cannot control objective markers at all. They don't count as...
Okay.
So, and also I am going to just rename my Kroot Shaper. I'm going to reduce its XP down to 0 right now. Dead. Because that character is extremely dead. Like, they are so dead.
background, we went through and marked all this stuff with blind deployment, and I guess I revealed my models, and I hear Adam say, "Oh no, I put the wrong I put the wrong model here." I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And I don't know what you were supposed to originally have or what you thought you might have had, which I think was probably the Rattlings. Which it would definitely not have gone well for the Rattlings either.
Oh, certainly not.
No, but but it opens up to a Shaper. I was like, oh, this is bad. Oh, this is real bad.
He's so dead. He's so dead. Now but you know what that made me think of? It would be really neat if, right now I have it set up where you have to make an interface check to unlock a door, right? Or to lock a door.
Yeah.
Would it be cool if a unit with technical skill is on one side of a door and a unit with technical skills on the other side of the door, and they have an opposed check? Like one unit is trying to hold the door shut, trying to hold the door shut while the other unit is trying to force the door open. I think that would be a neat.
That would be neat.
To have in there.
Yeah, just trying to figure
out. Not that
out.
the Shaper would have been able to do anything, but it's just something that made me think of that.
Yeah, I think that would work with like not my army.
Yeah. Well, don't forget going forward as you're trying to get through doors. You don't have any technically minded models. However, there is the option to use a psychic action to force the door open with telekinesis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can do a check to do that.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
Okay, so what we've decided is we are going to either just say that you take the forward weapons array, or I'm going to try to put together a kill team game. Josh actually offered to play a game of kill team on TTS. I'm going to try to put together a kill team game where we play the squad of pink horrors versus the Rattlings, and possibly some servitors. Not sure how we're going to do it, but I think it would be neat to have a kill team game where they try to take over the weapons array.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be really funny.
Neither of those units are going to be available in our next game, so keep that in mind when putting your force together for the next game. But our next actual main game is going to be a battle over the landing bay.
Yeah.
So the landing bay is a bigger space. So it might be that it's a little. I'm going to put some ships in there so that it's a proper Zone Mortalis. Okay. So it could have been a more wide open game, but also we're playing the Zone Mortalis rules. We're trying them out. So I'm going to have. It's going to be a big open space with ships in it, and with cargo containers and stuff like that. And really, essentially, you're just trying to get to the other side. I'm going to try to make it more interesting with some objectives, and I think the objectives will just represent how much space you take up. I'll try to come up with I'm going to try to look at some of the missions, the scenarios. If any of the listeners want to chime in on Discord and suggest a mission for that, let us know. Because essentially, I don't want it to just be escape missions the entire time. We want to get some objectives in there. So it's something to think about.
We'll definitely need, if it's landing bay, I'll definitely need to have some sort of objective that could be a controls for the doors.
That's true. You could actually be trying to take over this section, and which could include the ability to, stop me from leaving through this, stop me from taking my shuttles out, or you're controlling it, so you can have landing craft come on board full of horrible monstrosities. So that's a good point. Having control of the like proper control, not just running through it, but actually like stealing control of the ship with your own codes of this section with your own access codes. That sounds like something we should be doing.
Yep.
That's a good thought.
And it'll allow me to let in Spot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, we need Spot to show up for sure.
Yeah.
It would be fun. You know, Spot should be a reserve unit for this game.
Yeah.
If you control the doors, you can bring Spot in as a outflanking unit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Let's do that. That's perfect. I love that. Yeah. I love everything about that. That is just awful. I'm not sure what units I'm going to bring for this one. I think it would be good to try using the try to start using and getting used to the squat rules. So I think I'll bring all the squats and maybe one of the other mercenaries, maybe not the orcs, maybe the Kroot. I don't think the squats and the orcs would get along. So I'll bring the Kroot with their new leader.
Yeah.
And the squats and maybe a few other units. Let's try to do 50 power level for this one, shall we?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break, come back, and close out the show.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said.
Hey Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith Party bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons. For 736 points, you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar, 15 Incubi, and a Tantalus, aka the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure you could, but it wouldn't be the Slith Party On! But is it legal? Oh yeah! Is it awesome? Oh yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slith Party On!
Oh, we've reached level 6. Welcome back. It's time. The time has come to say goodbye. I need more coffee or less coffee. I'm not sure. What do you think, Jason?
I'm going to say more.
Okay, I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Again, yeah. Well, we're gonna try to have another game. Let's try to have another game, and we'll see how much control you can have. I'm going to try to put the scenario together, and we can play any time. And maybe with us doing 2 games this month, maybe we'll have time to finally get together and do a Titanicus game. That should be fun.
Yeah, because I'm really wanting to try that out because I've started building some of those things, and for whatever reason, Stompy Robots is right now something I'm really interested in. If that makes sense.
And I want to get a game in soon, because when you finally get addicted to it, then you'll have to build and paint an entire maniple before Adepticon.
For those of you who cannot see the video,
I'm number 1.
Jason
says I'm number 1. That's great. I can't wait to play. I can't wait to play Adeptus Titanicus with you in March. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
Wait, you need to wait 2 minutes so we can have 2 hours. Actually, no, you're going to cut it enough where it's not 2 hours. Never mind.
Well, I don't know. I'll put in enough ads. We'll just keep chatting. Yeah. We'll get it taken care of.
Yeah. We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge.
And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
If you'd like to engage with us directly, you can always join our Discord server.
To do so, or if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor,
contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mastersoftheforge. Thanks.
The music used in this podcast was made by Podod of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.